Hi guys, today I'd like to expand a little bit more on what everybody knows about me. I have mentioned in other videos little bits of information here and there about my life, but I haven't really ever put anything together other than things that more or less reflect my path and how I came to view my path and how I came to follow my path. I haven't really expanded on who I am as a person. And just little things about me that I like, dislike and whatever. So today I am going to do that. Now if I just jump from something happy to something sad, you know, yeah, I'm a little bit strange, everybody gets that. But don't worry about it too much. As I've sat down, I've written down a huge big long list here, so I will slowly go through them, and it was as things are coming into my head, I've just sort of written them down in point form. And I will explain and expand on certain things that I want to expand on as I'm going. So this could end up being a little bit of a lengthy video. For that I apologise, and to everybody else who does actually sit here and watch the whole thing, thank you. So without further ado, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alison. I'm 28. I have 4 cats now. I found Marcha deceased in my driveway last week, and I've had him examined and we can't figure out exactly what he died of. I think he may have been poisoned, or he's eaten a fox bait out in one of the paddocks. Because other than that, he was a very healthy cat. I have 8 dogs, 1 bird, a snake and a horse. I am left-handed, and interestingly enough, when I was younger, my grandparents used to make my mother tie my hand behind my back to encourage me to write with my right hand, as they saw the left hand as being, obviously the left-handed path, being a dark form of the occult and evil. I don't consider myself to be the devil, but others might. That's up to you, I guess. But needless to say, I'm left-handed. I write with my left hand, but I throw and do everything else with my right hand. And I can write backwards and forwards at the same time. I was born on Ash Wednesday, one of the biggest bushfire I think Australia has ever seen. As that fire blazed, my poor mother was in hospital giving birth to me. Yeah. I am an Aquarius, so obviously I am an air sign. I love food. There's not one part of me that can eat just salad or live on tuna and be one of those girls who says that they love their food, but secretly when they're at home by themselves they've got the little can of tuna out, or they've got their head in the toilet. Not me. I have my body issues and I do complain here and there about what I look like, but for the most part I'm pretty happy. I think food is something that is, you should really indulge in, not something that you should, that you should deprive yourself of just for your looks. And if you're doing that, then you have a problem. I'm your best friend or your worst enemy. With my personality, there's very rarely an in-between. People either love me or they hate me. A lot of people will assume that I'm arrogant, that I'm up myself, that I'm a princess, or that I'm a know-all, but I think that's just, that's an assumption that's made by people when they first meet me. I'm actually not like that at all. I guess I have a false sense of, actually I wouldn't call it a false sense. I am very confident, but through all the hurt and pain that I've had in my life, I guess sometimes it's like a hard exterior. I may come across that way, but I'm really not like that at all. And people who know me well enough know that I'm actually a bit of a softie. Yeah. But if I don't like you, you will know about it, and if I don't agree with you, you'll also know about that. I have a foul temper. I love the rain. I think it's one of the most peaceful and calming things that I could have in my life. I love nothing better than sitting outside on a really stormy day and watching the thunder and lightning, and just sitting on the veranda, and being a bit of a hick in my chair and just watching the rain, or going and lying down on my bed and just listening to it, and just puts me to sleep. And yeah, there's just nothing better. It's just the little things in life that really count, I think. I hate arrogant people and people that are fake. To me, there's no need to be arrogant. Just be yourself. Don't put on airs and graces for people. People see straight through it anyway. Just always be yourself. I hate posers and pretenders, and I hate to say it, but I see a lot of them on YouTube. People that I watch their videos and I just don't feel that the way they are in their videos is the way that they are in real life. I feel like with behind closed doors, there's two completely different things going on there. People portray themselves in a certain manner, but I just do not get that from them whatsoever when I watch their videos, and it annoys me because I just feel like turning the video off. Yeah. again, that's not to everybody, because there's mass amounts of people that I just love. There's just certain people here and there, and that's not just for the pagan or Wiccan community. That's just, you know, encompassing the whole of YouTube. When I watch some people and just think, oh, you've got to be kidding me, you're an idiot. Anyway. Yeah, I love cookie dough. I probably shouldn't admit that, but if I have the time, and I'm usually by myself when I do it, because I hate to admit that I can sit with a whole packet of cookie dough and just eat it with a spoon and a big glass of milk while I watch TV. Then I feel really fat for doing it and disgusting, but I love it. I try not to watch too much television, as I think that it poisons the mind. We did have, you know, satellite TV here, pay TV, Foxtel, you know, whatever everyone calls it. We got rid of it, we don't have it anymore, so I actually don't watch a lot of TV. The only things that I will watch are generally history, you know, documentaries about history, real life matters, or, you know, paranormal documentaries, or anything to do with religion. They're the only things that I like to watch. I don't like to watch, you know, all these ridiculous things on TV that that depicts a part of life that doesn't really exist. But that being said, I do like Sex in the City. I'm sorry, but I do. I think every woman does. I was a product of rape, according to my mother. That's how I was conceived, so that's pretty sad, but I don't like to dwell on things that have happened in the past. You have to move on and look for the positive things, you know, and the ways that you can help others from things that have happened to you. I don't like to dwell and say, well, poor me, poor me. Even though I have been diagnosed with depression, I don't like to sit and dwell on everything and play the victim. I don't think that that is a good thing to do for yourself, or it's not good to, you know, push your negativity and your sadness onto other people. I feel that some people just really are empathic without even realising it, and you pushing your negativity and your darkness onto them, it does actually affect yourself and other people a lot more than people realise. So I try and look for the more positive points that can come of something and try and have a happier outlook on life. That being said, there are days that I don't want to get out of bed, or I just don't get out of bed. But for the most part, I'm pretty good. I have been molested. My mother's second marriage, or second partner, he molested me for a long time. When I told Mum, of course, she believed me, but you know, it's taken a lot of healing, put it that way. It's still something I think about now, something that still upsets me. But I try not to think about it, and I try and look for ways that I can help others from my pain. I've also been the victim of an attempted rape in 2000 or 2001. My partner's best friend tried to rape me, and as I live in a small town, it tore the whole town apart. Everybody took sides, everybody chose not to believe me. Everybody said I did it for money, people said I made it up. Why I would make something like that up, I don't know, but it affected me and still does affect me to this day. I still live in the same town. He did actually go to jail and was obviously convicted for what he'd done. A lot of people went to see him in jail and believed his story, that it was I just made it up, and that you know, I'm a bitch, or well, you know, there's so many things that were said about me. It's really quite disgusting. But when he was released from jail, he went to a wedding, and he did the same thing to somebody else. So I have had quite a few apologies, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't dwell on it, but too little too late. You should have known that I was telling the truth to start with, and not turned your back on me or my partner. I might be a lot of things, but I'm no liar, put it that way. I'll tell it like it is, whether people like it or not, and he did what he did, that's it. Yeah, I say what I think. Gets me into trouble a lot. Yeah, I seem to have foot and mouth syndrome on a regular basis. I don't believe in sugarcoating things for people, and I don't believe that you should tell somebody something just because that's A, what they want to hear, or B, what you think that they should hear. If people don't like your opinion and what you have to say, well, as far as I'm concerned, they can bugger off. That's their problem, not yours. I'm not always a positive person, as I've said. I can be pretty dark, pretty negative sometimes. And every now and then, you know, I have, you know, pretty dark and bad thoughts about people that have hurt me. But for the most part, I try and be pretty positive, like I've said 1,000 times. on that point, I guess, of always being a positive person, or I'm not always positive, I do try and embrace the darkness of my life as well as the light. I think that sometimes Wicca and certain paths, they focus far too much on being positive and happy and following the light and always doing good and, you know, being in a white bubble, and that really annoys me. I really do not believe that you can be positive all the time, because it's just, you know, there is a balance in life with everything. There's, you know, good, bad, tall, short, you know, ugly, pretty, whatever. It doesn't matter. There is a balance, and so with one comes the other. It's natural. So I've also come to the point in my life of thinking, or in my path of believing, that sometimes I do believe in karma. I do believe what you put out eventually will come back to you. But when it comes to spells or rituals of a vengeful nature, I do believe that, you know, in my case, if somebody has tried to rape me or molest me, that I'm probably within my right to do something to push karma in the right direction. I've never done it, but I have thought about it, and it's not something that I won't do if I really feel the need one day. Because as far as I know, yeah, he's living quite happily in Queensland with his wife, and she knows what he did to me, but, you know, nothing's happened to him. So I sort of wonder sometimes where karma's at. You know, where are your priorities, karma? Yeah, but for the most part at the moment, I have no desire to do anything to him. I really do believe he'll get his own back one day, or, you know, something will happen that will just tear his life apart, and that will be his own fault. Anyway, getting off track. I love the paranormal. I have worked on a program here in Australia called Haunted Australia. I did that for quite some time, so I'm a little bit of a paranormal enthusiast, well, more of an obsessive paranormal enthusiast. It is my love other than my practice. So when I hear a lot of people on YouTube talking about really fanciful ideas when it comes to the paranormal, it really shits me, especially when I hear people try, and actually it's a really good example, people trying to relate science to the paranormal. Unless you have protocols, you have your 5 steps of scientific method, you can't relate using an EMF meter, you know, with a motion detector and having 3 or 4 different points and then making a correlation and saying that that's science. It's not science. There's no science involved. There was a video I was watching, was it yesterday or the day before, when they were talking about the terms positive and negative in science, and, you know, we shouldn't use those terms because actually, you know, negative means positive and positive means negative and so forth. You can't relate science to a religious path like this. You know, I'm not even getting, actually I'm going to make a video on that, so I'm not going to get into it now because this video is going to be way too long. Yeah, but I'm a strong believer, if you're going to do something scientifically, do it in a proper scientific manner, using the 5 steps of scientific method. You know, follow the proper protocols. Don't just claim to use science or claim that science is, you know, mixed with religion when it's actually not. That's just a claim, it's a fallacy, and it's an assumption. It doesn't make it science. So anyway. Yeah, I have been investigating the paranormal now for probably on and off for 10 years. Demonology is a big one for me, which is sort of, you know, a strange concept considering the path that I follow. But I always am extremely interested in how Christians and Christianity, how they view demons and demonology and how it affects their lives. When you have, you know, so many people doing exorcism and ritualized exorcisms, all these things, and how strongly they believe in this power of evil or the devil, Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him. It really interests me, biblical demonology, and where these, you know, historically, where you know, the first documented cases of demonic possession, all of those sorts of things, it really interests me. You know, I believe that believe that probably 90% of people have a mental or psychological problem as opposed to a spiritual affliction that really is valid. But again, you know, without science being able to say that this is a, you know, science and mental health probably go more in hand, obviously, than science and the paranormal and any sort of spiritual affliction. But, you know, at some point it would be nice if we could form some sort of scientific fact that backs up that spiritual affliction can and does occur. Because I am a firm believer that these sorts of things can and do occur in a very rare state and form, but I do think that it can. And I don't believe that you have to follow a particular religious path for it to happen. Just from research, I've seen that there are a lot of people who don't actually follow any particular sect or path, and they have been the victim of some form of negative spiritual affliction. But again, not going to get into it, but it really interests me, put it that way. Yes, I do believe in evil, negative forces. It's sort of hard for me to to explain. Obviously, I don't consider myself to be a firm believer in Satan, devil, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him. However, I have had experiences both in this house, I've had them in my aunt's house, and I've also had them, at a party at a friend's house. I had a headache, I went to bed, and I was lying in bed, and the feeling that I have when this takes place is a sense of pure evil. So if I could put into words what I would portray, or what you may feel the devil, if he existed, was to physically feel like, that's the sense that I get from this evil force. I can't explain what it is. It's only ever happened to me about 4 times, and it's always been quite a random time. But I will be lying in bed, or I will be somewhere, and the room will go cold, colder than it's ever gone, and I can feel this sense of just negative energy, dread, and just evil, pure evil. If I could put into words what I believe pure evil to be, that's what it is. And I can even pinpoint the room where this force is at, and it has frightened the absolute hell out of me. I can't explain it. And this has happened over the years for some time. I've also had many dreams as a child, and I started as a child where the devil would come to me in dreams, and I've always known it to be the devil himself. Really hard to explain again, and I know that Christians are just going, oh, that's because you practice witchcraft. No, I didn't practice witchcraft. I knew nothing about any of this when I was a child, and it's always been the same. And as I've gotten older, he gets closer and closer and closer to me. Now, I don't know if that's got anything to do with my paranormal investigating, or if it's got anything to do with my research into demonology, or if anything crosses over. It's not a correlation that I can make at this point, but it's very strange, and it frightens me when it happens, and luckily it doesn't happen very often. I have dabbled, but not excessively, but I know my forte is spirit communication. I am fascinated by it, all aspects of spirit communication, whether it be table tipping, mediumship, Ouija boards, pendulums, anything that falls under the umbrella of spirit communication or spiritualism. Again, I'm really right into that as well. EVP is another big one for me. Yeah, but I don't need anyone who watches this as a Christian saying, well, that's because you're having these, this is the reason for your experiences, because you dabble in this stuff. Just bugger off on that one. Because there's plenty of people that dabble in spirit communication that don't have anything happen to them, and there's plenty of people that don't dabble in anything that have these spiritual afflictions, so I don't need that. Thank you. Obviously, everybody knows that my favourite store in Melbourne is the Spell Box. Yes, I love it, so I won't go on with that one. I own and run The Pagan Veil, which is www.thepaganveil.com. I've had that website for about 2 years, and at the moment it just seems to be moving in leaps and bounds. I'm lucky enough to have the Pagan Centered podcast as sponsors, so those guys are great. I also have, obviously, this YouTube channel and my MySpace page, which I will be starting very shortly, which is Avalon Moon 91, and will be on MySpace, so go and check that out. I'll actually put all the links at the bottom for everyone. I have been a sufferer of sleep paralysis. Now that I'm actually going through this list, everyone's going to think I'm a weirdo. I suffered sleep paralysis for a long time, on and off throughout my life. Now, I have watched many documentaries, I have read a lot of books, researched on the internet. Anywhere I can find information about sleep paralysis, I've done it. But 9 times out of 10, most people report that it's an entity that tries to hurt them in some way. You know, either by choking, sitting on their chest, you know, incubus, succubus. Yeah, I get all that. When I've suffered sleep paralysis, I don't have that. It's a black figure. And it always just stands next to my bed and watches me. It's never ever tried to hurt me. It never tries to touch me. It never tries to do anything. I can see it very clearly, and it more or less looks like the Grim Reaper. Is it sleep patterns? Is it REM? Is it just what happens when we fall asleep? It's our, you know, body falling asleep before our mind's falling asleep. I'm up, you know, I can't explain it. I believe it's something supernatural. I've watched the clock as I'm sleeping. I can actually physically see my clock ticking, and I'm watching it, so I know whatever is going on has to be real, but the figure still remains there. So it's really hard. Or it walks around my bed, but it watches me. It doesn't actually try and hurt me. So I would really be interested to know if anybody else has had this same experience, or sleep paralysis in general, and what you have experienced as it's happening. You can either message me, do a video response even, or put it down below. So I really would like to speak with people who have the same experiences that I do. Yeah, my mother's side is Polish, my father's side is Scottish, as I found out this year. My father disowned me as a child. I didn't have much to do with him my whole life. He married my auntie, so that really technically makes my brother and sister, my half-brother and sister, but my cousins at the same time. Yeah, I could be on Jerry Springer. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, no inbreeding, just for those of you who are going to point your finger and put the fist up, whatever. Yeah, so my mother left my father because he was very violent and he hit her a lot. And after my mother left him, my auntie married him. So yeah, I don't understand why people do these things, but hey, look, it's what we were born into. There's nothing I can do about it. Yeah. He actually, my father died of a heroin overdose at the end of last year. I got a call at about 6 o'clock at night. My mother said that he'd had the heroin overdose, and I drove straight to my aunt's house. And as much as I feel that he wasn't my father, it's very hard to explain. He's my father and I love him more than anything, but I was extremely sad that even on the day we went to hospital, nobody wanted to stay with him. They just wanted to turn the machine off and leave him. And I'm sorry, I don't believe that anybody has to die without any dignity. So I sat with him and I held his hand until he died. And my brother stayed with me. And despite his feelings for me as his child or not his child, I will always love him. Anyway, I'm sorry, I don't want to cry in front of everybody. I have tried to commit suicide when I was 16. Ask me now and I probably couldn't even tell you why I did it, to be honest. I think it was because of a love or something ridiculous that had gone wrong in my life, and I tried to overdose on some sort of sleeping tablet. I can't even remember what it was, which is why I try and help myself now when it comes to depression or any form of negativity and sadness. I don't feel that you should dwell in it. I think help comes to those who help themselves, that you really need to be strong enough to pull yourself out of it and not rely on medication to help you with these things, because what they do is they dull who you are, they dull you on the inside, and I don't feel that medication for depression, it doesn't help you, it kills your spirit. Yeah, so that's that one. I was pretty bullied in high school. Obviously I think it was because I used to say what I think too much, but it doesn't matter. I'm over it now. You know, I look back at a lot of people in high school who see me now and who I see them, and I look where they you know, where they've gone with their lives, and they're working in a supermarket or, you know, in their local $2 shop, and I think, well, you picked on me in high school, and look where you're at now. So suffer in your undies. First book I ever read on witchcraft was To Ride a Silver Broomstick by Silver Ravenwolf. Now that's another video I'm going to make, a detailed video about Silver Ravenwolf, but I'm not getting into it now. But I really do believe that she deserves one whole video to talk about her books, what they represent, the misconceptions, and where I think people are wrong in judging her books so harshly. I'm a very strong dreamer. I need a drink. Have been my whole life. I've had quite a few prophetic dreams, dreams that obviously have come true. For example, about 3 years ago, I dreamt that I was on a helicopter. The helicopter was crashing into the ocean. There was people from the army on the helicopter, and I was sitting next to Elvis Presley. Now, I woke up and I knew it was going to happen. How, when, or where, I didn't know, but I knew. So I kept checking the internet for news updates as much as I could. Exactly 2 days later, a helicopter, an army helicopter, crashed over waters. It was either in the Northern Territory or Queensland. Yeah, everybody on all the occupants on the helicopter died, and the name of the helicopter was the King. I just wish that sometimes my dreams are a little bit more specific, so if you're going to have these dreams, there's something you could do to stop them or help the people involved. But I've had many dreams like that, but I feel a lot of the time unfortunately there's nothing I can do. I try and research before I think that things are going to happen, but I can never find anything. And lately some of these dreams have been getting stronger, and they're to do with things in my life, and I've actually been in probably 3 or 4 situations within the last 2 months where I've been doing something completely random, and I've realised that I've dreamt it. I'll be walking somewhere or doing something, and it's not deja vu, but I realise that I have dreamt this, and I'm dreaming parts of my life before they happen. What the significance is, I do not know, and I don't realise it until it happens, and it's not deja vu. It's so hard to explain, but yeah, very strange. Yeah, I love to sleep. I'm a big fan of sleeping. I'm definitely a night person. I can sit up till 3 o'clock in the morning very easily. When it comes to during the day, I find that, you know, I'm really nocturnal. I could sleep all day and be up all night. I love the darkness. I love this, you know, the sensuality of darkness and, you know, the cover of the night. I'm not somebody who gets up in the morning and is a really happy person in the morning. And anybody who knows me well enough knows that you just stay out of my way in the morning. I'm really grumpy. Yeah. I don't have a lot of female friends. I find that I clash with a lot of females. I don't know why that is. I feel that it's just a lot of misconceptions, and it's, you know, women are very bitchy, women are very judgmental, and I think that it's unfortunately it's harsh, but it's the truth. We all have it within us to be judgmental and harsh on others, but I find that I get along with men so much more easily. Sometimes I think of myself as being a man stuck in a woman's body. I really do. You know, I find it so easy to get along with men, and women just seem to really dislike me a lot of the time straight away. So, which doesn't worry me though. I prefer not to have a lot of female friends. It's just ego, bitchiness. I can't be bothered with any of that. I like my own company. I could spend all day every day by myself and be really happy. Not have to listen to anybody else's whinging, anyone else's life politics, anyone else's problems, ego, you know, what's going on in their life, what's going on in their family, what their kids have eaten for breakfast. I really don't care. I have enough problems sometimes in my own life. I just don't want to hear about everybody else's. You know, not to say that I don't care. My friends and family, who obviously are my heart and my soul, I could listen to their problems all day, but you know, just generally speaking, you know, social society and all its problems, I don't want to hear about it, which is why I try not to. I don't read magazines, other than, you know, obviously anything paranormal or spiritual. I don't read all the new Weekly and all the gossip magazines. I really don't care about Lady Gaga's heroin or cocaine addiction. Good on her if she wants to put that up her nose. You know, that's her problem, not mine. She's going to die haggard and ugly looking. Great. Yeah, my favourite colour is green, but that could change, you know, tomorrow or whatever. Tomorrow my favourite colour could be purple. I live for the moment, so my thoughts and things can change at any given time. you know, today my colour's green, tomorrow